Welcome to the S9. It should be S9 SSL Prospect Draft. My name is Canadice, and I'm the commissioner of the SSL. And with me today, I have Jess.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jess.
We're a bit short-staffed today. It's just me and Jess in the commentators booth, and I'm also trying to do all of the things on the back end. So it might be a bit slow at times, but hopefully we're able to keep things interesting at some point. Um, I needed to change the S8 to S9. That's the thing I was trying to do. Right. We have a shorter draft today, I think. We have 20 eligible prospects or 19 eligible prospects from the S9 class, and we have a couple prospects that are from the earlier class that are still eligible to be drafted. And we also have a draft order that we can see here. One of the interesting things, if you note that, is that the league champions, Hollywood FC, or the champions of Division One, actually have the first overall pick. They have the first and the last pick in each round, or in the first round at least. How did that come to pass, Jess?
So according to the notes that I was given, um, so there was a trade with Capstad, which was Hunter Jones went to Capstad and then on to Laos in return for Laos's first round pick there.
Yeah, so Jones
Exciting.
traded some teams, and I don't think he's on Laos even now. I think he was loaned out to Cairo for the S8 season. So Jones really traveled all over the world.
Making their rounds.
Yeah. And we also have a slight change as well in the first round. We also have Romana trading out of the first round. They traded with Adawa Accra and sent Vui Kemuatu, Raven. They use a Raven to Romana in exchange for Accra's. No, sorry, in exchange for Romana's first round pick, second overall. So Accra now has second and third overall in the first round here. And then another team who traded themselves out of the entire draft was Buenos Aires, who actually got Franco Torres from Cairo, and they sent to Cairo instead two firsts and two seconds. So Buenos Aires spending a lot to get Torres into their
Making big
team.
moves.
Um, in the past season, they got to fourth, being promoted from the second division, which was a very strong placement. But it's tight in the first division, so any improvement, especially up top, scoring goals, is very relevant. Very relevant
For
indeed.
sure, yeah.
Okay, so I think that sets up the scene of what the prospect draft, how it looks like right now, at least. Where we might have some trades going on throughout the draft that might change things up a bit even more. But as of right now, Hollywood is up with the first pick. So let's
What will
see.
happen?
No one knows. Oh wait, we do. Actually, no. So, see if all of the systems work correctly here. Might take some time between the picks to get all of the systems to sync up, but we have a pick from Hollywood. Who do you think they will go for being the league champions? Do they need to improve anything? What are your thoughts about that?
I think Hollywood is just about as good as it gets right now. So Like, I mean, obviously they're a team that can afford to be really picky here and go for quality over quantity.
Going for quality over quantity and still having more picks than
And
five
still
other
having more,
teams
but yeah.
in the draft. So we have 5 teams that have no picks in either of the first 2 rounds, or at least not in the top 20, which we have eligible players. So Hollywood has some
Yeah.
quantity as well coming in.
Yeah. Will be interesting to see how they juggle all that.
And Hollywood selects Brednik Lavert, user Anix.
It's a terrific name.
I
Mm.
saw that Brednik also had his career PT written, and I think, if I remember correctly, it was something about bread. Um,
I would hope so.
I would really
It
hope so
would be
too.
a
Yeah.
shame if it wasn't. For
uh,
Anik is honestly like one of the nicest people that I know of in sim leagues. Um, like has always has something positive to say about just about everything. So this is a good pick in my eyes.
yeah, really good pick. And Anik's coming back to the league after retiring Sheridan Shaka, I believe it was. Um,
So,
I think so. I might misremember. Sorry about that if I am. But coming back to the league with this new player, and it looks like a bit of a speed demon. Um, Pace 15, acceleration 13. Even though he's a central defender.
fastest bread in the game.
That is true. Fastest spread in the game. Remember that, commentators.
Just in case any other bread joins, you'll have to compare the two.
But I think this is a very solid build for a 350 TP player, at least in the central defense. Good physicals, good defending, especially good in the air as well with 13 jumping reach. So it might be a bit slow to keep up with the Division One players. The Division One forwards who tend to be very quick, but very good base to build upon moving
And Anik does
forward.
know, he knows FM
Yeah. Yes.
very well. So that is unsurprising to me that knows how to put together a good starting build.
So here, and then now we should see. Yes, we see Brednik, Lavert there as well. So now we have Adwa Akra with 2 subsequent picks here. So they um, changing course a bit here. So Hollywood winning the league and still picking up the first overall pick here. We have Adawakra, who finished 6th in the second division, so third from the bottom. But they have a very young team. They have, I think, the majority of them were S7 players and S8 players. So these 2 picks that they have in S9 is going to be well within the group that they build on.
Pretty sure.
And you played against them in the second division, if I remember correctly, being on Seoul this season.
I did. I did this season. That was fun. Fun little jaunt in D2.
And of course, you playing on Seoul there, you actually went onto a team that was promoted. But I think still, even though Seoul had led or won Division Two with 30 points, there was still a lot of tight games, especially against Ottawa and Laos and Reykjavik that we will see. That has a young team. So any of these players is going to be able to contribute and make an impact quite early, I think.
Yeah, agree there.
And for the second overall selection, Accra selects Munche Sarantsaral.
Thank you
Sarantsaral.
for pronouncing that so I didn't have to.
Yeah, Sarantsaral. There was a lot of TSs there.
Yeah.
That makes it a bit hard to read, but I think I got it that second time. But user Woog, a goalkeeper. So Accra gets their goalkeeper. They secure the back end. Um, Although they didn't really concede that many goals last season, only 22. Although that was third third most in the division. But comparing to the other teams, it's still quite close. But a goalkeeper surely would help secure their future and build upon an already young and up and coming team.
It's always a good piece to lock down if you can.
For sure, for sure.
I
I think
know
this
I'm
is the second
speaking from the
Mongolian player.
perspective of Tokyo, where we had a while where it was kind of just like this ongoing struggle to keep an active goalkeeper.
Right, I think he went through like three in 2 seasons or three in three
Yeah.
seasons. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this is the second Mongolian player we have in the league, if I remember correctly.
That's exciting.
Exciting. We and as we're going to see in this draft as well, we have a lot of variety of players coming from all over, which is really fun to see. Um, Maybe at some point we're going to get some form of international tournament. So
Hope
having an
so.
international player base is always good to have.
Yeah.
So a goalkeeper for the second overall pick, and then Ottawa is again on the board with their third overall pick. So now having secured the back end, maybe they're focusing in a bit on the offensive part. Although, to be fair, the defenders have always been highly sought after in the league. Um, I think
Yeah.
the first
I
three
know when I
drafts.
created,
Sorry.
I was gonna say when I created, I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, what do people need? And everybody was like, defender, defender, defender. So I created the defender and then ended up re-rolling it to something else.
Right,
But
right. Because I think the first 3 seasons of drafts, I think 80% of the first round was all defenders in all 3 drafts.
crazy.
Really crazy, yeah. And we have a pick, and it's another defender, Peregrine Plink from Iceland, of all places, with the user Lore.
Love
And I think
that.
you have experience with this one, with this user.
Yeah, Laura's great. Laura was our head office, one of our head office interns in the SHL last season and was bumped up recently to full head office member. So getting very involved in multiple places early. Um, yeah, terrific user. Love this pick. I'm gonna say that I love all of them, but I do love this one.
It's tough to say that you don't love the picks as they're playing football, but
Yeah, I just will strategically not say anything if I don't have anything nice to say.
yeah, yeah. So this player is going to be using affiliates most likely, I think, considering
Yeah,
the activity
100%.
in in other leagues as well. Uh, it's a great pickup. Um, Easy to earn, probably going to make an
Yep.
impact relatively quickly. But what's interesting here is the build is a bit different compared to the previous central defender that we saw being picked up. This one not really more physically based. Plink is compared to the aerial focus of Levert, um, which is also going to be very interesting to see, especially in the second division, who has the impact. I don't think speed is of the same um, is used the same as it does in the first division. So strength might be a bit more
Interesting.
valuable, maybe. Of course,
We'll be
you're also
keeping an
going to
eye on
earn.
both of them.
Yes. So dictates tempo and tries to play play way out of trouble is the traits that Peregrine has gone for, or Lore has gone for, which is also a bit interesting. As a defender, is going to be a bit more controlling of the play compared to Levert then as Hollywood picked up, a
Right.
bit more defensive minded.
Right.
But very interesting. So a goalkeeper and a defender coming to Accra, um, rounding out the more offensive core that is there right now. Maybe
And I guess there is always the possibility that, you never know who's had what scouting conversations and who has already agreed, yeah, I'm totally gonna reroll. So,
that is true. That is true. We do have a couple of options available for people who might not be as pleased with their build that they were initially, or have been drafted to a team that, through discussion with the manager, comes to an agreement that we might want to play you on another position. So both with the rookie redistribution, as we call it, where you can redistribute, if I remember correctly, it's 100 TP and all of the positional XP, or rather, you can change primary and secondary positions.
yeah,
And the reroll, the full reroll that you can do, that essentially just you create an entirely new player with the same name, of course, and everything.
for
But
sure.
the attributes and the traits and the positional positions can be changed with the reroll. So there are definitely alternatives to do if you find
Lots
yourself
of
coming to a team
possibilities.
that are a bit full at the position.
Or if you're like me and you just created whatever and have no idea what you're doing, so you're just happy to do whatever to help the team.
Yeah, that too. That too. Okay, so that was Accra's two picks, securing the back end as well. So with the goalkeeper and the defender. And now we have Reykjavik on the board, if I can read correctly. Yes, it's a bit small there, but
That is
Reykjavik is on the
correct,
board.
I believe.
So Reykjavik came fifth in the second division last season. That was the second season they were in the second division, so they were relegated from the first division in season 7, if I remember. No, in season 6. I don't
That
know.
sounds right.
I don't remember. It's been so many
It's
seasons.
been a long journey
Yes,
with this team.
but Reykjavik has been in the league for a long time and is now rebuilding back to secure their place back in the first division, essentially. And they have the fourth overall pick, and I'm keep on forgetting where I'm going to click. There we are. Okay. So they have a relatively young team as well. Reykjavik. They had a lot of picks in the last draft, in the latest draft, or the latest two drafts, essentially. So they have a good young team that they can build upon moving forward. And they were relatively close, only 2 points behind third in the second division, 8
Yeah.
points behind the second promotion spot, but still well within reach. A couple of more wins, a couple of less losses might have taken them further.
Yeah,
The
there were a couple races there that were real tight near the end.
Yeah, both in the second and the first division,
Yeah.
really tight at the end at least. So let's see who Reykjavik selected. It's Paul Penshaw. He's a merchant,
Very
an
exciting.
English player. We don't have. We I was surprised to see when I looked through the nationalities that English players are very few in the league. But great to see Penshaw coming in and increasing that number a bit.
I just pretend that they're all off playing the Premier League. They
That's
just
fair.
haven't
That's
made their
fair.
way here.
A striker coming into Reykjavik. if I remember correctly, just going to check something really quick. Who does Reykjavik have on their roster? Right, they only have one striker currently, Lachlan O'Rourke. So Henshaw is coming in with the ability to really compete at that position, and especially with this build, finishing 13, strength 12, really strong, strong attacking forward. Maybe some crosses coming in from the wings, being able to get those from there with the um, aerial capabilities that this player has, and the ability to put the ball away in the net as well with places, shots, and so on. So I think a really good pickup for Reykjavik, trying to score more goals than 19 that they did last season, uh, which was a bit low for the second division.
Yeah. This ought to help.
Ought to help, if
Hopefully.
not next season, the season after at least.
For sure.
Okay, so that was the 4th overall pick, and now we are at Kapstad, who got a first round pick back in the trade with Laos, but not in the trade with Laos that sent Jones to Laos. And this was another trade that sent another player to Laos. I believe it was Nagatoro Maradona. I believe, if I remember
Mm.
correctly. So they have the 5th overall pick instead of the first. But since this is a relatively at least deep pool of players, the level of quality here should not change that much in first and 5th at least. Let's see. See who Kapstad picks up.
Dun 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 dun.
Systems are speaking to one another, but it takes a couple of seconds.
Processing. Processing.
Yes. There we go. There we go. And Kapstad selected Giannis Krustis Jr., user Air Crew, coming back with the son of Giannis Krustis. Maybe? I'm guessing the junior implies some form of
Perhaps.
relational bond between them.
Could
Um,
just be his name.
could just be his name.
Just
That is fair. That
randomly.
is fair. Just the same first name and last name, and then added junior.
Just for
Um,
flavor.
yes. So Giannis Krustis the older was a wingback or a side back, side defender uh, who had played for Kapstad, I think in various periods. So air crew coming back to Kapstad now with a striker instead. Um, that is really something Kapstad is looking for. They only managed to score 10 goals the entirety of last season, or the entirety of the league last season at least, for the 14 games. So that's less than 1 goal per game. So a striker that knows how to places shots and curls balls is definitely something they are in need of. So great pickup, both positionally, both from the team need and also as a user as well. Coming back to Kapstad. Oh right, yes, the comments in the SSL chat. I've been
I
not.
just noticed that.
Yes, good. Uh, if someone is writing there, Jess, could you could you keep tracking
Yeah,
that a
yeah,
bit?
I'll keep an eye
Yes,
on that.
yes. There's a lot of buttons to push here, and I have the YouTube chat up at least. But yes, so Kapstad selecting Giannis Krustis Jr., a striker with very good strengths here, finishing acceleration and agility. So very agile, versatile striker that can do a bit of everything. It seems the aerial and speed and attacking seems to be very uniform in its distribution, which is a good base to build upon. Fifth overall pick selected. And now we go to the sixth overall pick. That is Montreal United, who actually recently got a new manager in Tom Tommen.
Did. Very exciting.
Yes.
I did
So
a lot of work there as steward.
I don't know if you're joking, but I think you are.
I am. I am definitely joking. I was steward for like 2 days, so
And Tom Tommen helped out that there as well a bit.
yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that honestly, from what I've seen, I think he's got a great vision for the future of the team. Seems really excited about it. It seems like a really cool thing they're building there. So I'm excited to see how they turn it around.
Yeah. I mean, not necessarily turning it around. Montreal has been inches away from the promotion spot. I think
Yeah,
3 seasons in a row after
yeah,
some very low results in the previous season. So they've been there. They've been gnawing at the heels of both Buenos Aires last season and Inter London this season. So
yeah,
they just need that one piece extra to get over the
yeah.
hump. Um, Maybe this pick might be able to get them
Mhm.
there. They also did some recent trades. I think I can't remember them right now, but I think this weekend they did some player movements to get some new blood as well. So eager to see what it all will end up, uh, what impact it might have in season 9 here have coming up. Montreal and Tom Thomas first pick here in the first round, and it is. These system talk to each other more quickly. Okay, we have some form of technical difficulties. Ah, there we go. There we go.
You
Now
can
we
do
have
it,
the pick
computer.
live. Gareth
There we
Allard,
go.
user Rockstar, a Quebecois, a Quebec player coming into the league.
Love that. Very
So
appropriate.
very appropriate, yes, with Montreal. So a hometown player. I don't remember which city in Quebec Allard came from, but it's a local player coming in to play for the local SSL team. Lovely storyline to spawn off of. Um, a left attacking midfielder in Gareth Allard here, with relatively uniform distribution of attributes. I believe, given that the highest attributes are tens, it usually means that a lot of attributes are at 10, which is a very stable base to build upon. It can basically be anything in the end.
I double checked. He is in fact from Montreal.
He's in fact from Montreal. Even better
Yeah,
storyline wise. Yes,
love it.
love it. Um, so Gareth Allard doesn't have to travel that far to play in the SSL.
We can
Gets
just take the
forward
trade.
whenever possible. He can just take the trade. Yeah, exactly. Gets forward whenever possible and places shots. So seems like a very, or not a very, but seems like a more offensive-minded winger here. Uh, Tends to shoot maybe more than passes with places shots as a trait. Maybe something that Montreal can use to get over that hump as well. They excelled in the defensive side last season, only conceding 13 goals in the league. That was actually the fewest in the second division, and actually the fewest, or the second fewest if you consider both divisions, with 13. But they didn't really have the same scoring touch as the closest teams in the division, with Inter London at 25 goals for, and Laos with 27 goals for. So another offensive threat might be able to score some more goals and win some more games that might put them over the promotion line.
Very exciting stuff.
Let's see. That was Gareth Allard to Montreal. Montreal. You speak Quebecois. Um,
I do not.
I do not
I
either. I
speak
try. I
just
try
enough to make
sometimes,
fun of
but
Jurt.
so seventh overall pick, we have Cairo City, and that's actually Inter London's original pick, and I have no idea how that ended up in Cairo. Actually, I tried to look up some of these trades beforehand, but that one I actually missed. Um, so I have no idea. But London doesn't have any picks in this top 20. Cairo at the seventh pick, and they are going to pick. See if the systems can speak to one another. So Cairo finished seventh in the first division last season, and actually was uh, relegated to the second division after, I think it was the final game that actually put the nail in the coffin, where they.
Yeah, that was an exciting one. I got to sim that one.
Oh, right,
So it
right.
was, yeah, not the game that I screwed up that sim. Thank goodness. I would feel really bad if I screwed up a game that actually like got somebody relegated.
Yeah, yeah. That's always a as a simmer. You really need to keep the buttons and keep everything in
Yeah,
place, and there's so much things to keep track of that
so
it's.
many things too.
Yeah.
And then I have this problem where Football Manager keeps crashing on my computer, so half the time I will have done the things and then I'll have to do them twice and it's the second pass when I mess
Ah,
up something.
we are
Uh,
about that simming. If you are interested in simming for the league and have access to Football Manager 2022, you're always welcome to apply. I think we have a standing application for simmers. So even though it's difficult, it's so many things to keep a track of. We are implementing some changes this season that will make every game go as a separate entity, so you're able to save the game a bit more than what we've done previously. So hopefully the simmer fatigue and the simmer workload is going to be reduced a bit because of that.
love that.
But Cairo City relegated unfortunately to Division Two and has seen a bit of a turnover with among them Franco Torres sent to Buenos Aires. So they are looking to retool, rebuild a bit. They are also looking for a manager in case you're interested. Um, so rebuilding, retooling a bit, and this pick is going to help them out on that road. Let's see if I can pronounce this correctly. Sirtsvaldis Miglashems from Latvia. So the user Frostbeard. Another midfielder. This one is going to be a bit lower on the field, the left midfielder instead of left attacking midfielder. But another very offensive, or maybe not offensive, but more along the lines of a visionary on the midfield. Can look and pass really good with attributes passing and vision at 15. And you can see on the radar chart there that vision is the biggest slice of the pie on the attribute distribution.
Yeah, definitely there.
going to make.
I've been sitting over here trying to, like, I was looking at this name, figuring out how to pronounce it, and I love that you've got it phonetically spelled out, but it's Swedish phonetics.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I'm going from one language to another language in order to pronounce another language.
I tried to, so I tried to listen to the pronunciation. The
Gotcha.
unfortunate thing was that I only found the English pronunciation of this Latvian name, which is not correct.
Oop.
So the English pronunciation would be something like Miglaskems or something like that,
Yeah.
which is
We don't
not
really
what the
have that
native tongue
soft
would
sh.
be. Yeah. So Miglashems, I think, is the, if I understood it correctly, if I
That
understood the
looks right.
phonetics correctly, should be the proper pronunciation. Otherwise,
We also have
Frostbeard, if you're
tracked
in the
down that
chat.
we tracked down that trade.
Oh, we did
Yeah,
with the
some was sent in chat. So it was a London Cairo trade where Pierre Hude went um to London
right, the
and
Pierre
Cairo
Hood, the
got
defender,
yeah,
right. So
and
into
Cairo got
London,
this London's pick and Tokyo's pick.
and Tokyo's pick. Oh, okay. So yeah, picking up some picks for rebuilding a bit, and then London getting some upgrades on the back end on the central defense, or at least some alternatives on the central defense with Hood coming in, strengthen that part. Okay. And like I said, Frostbeard, if you're in chat, you can always correct our pronunciations of the names. Uh,
Yeah,
these uh,
please.
these Latvian names are always kind of difficult to pronounce. All the accents on the letters. But Miglashems, try that again. Miglashems, yes, to Cairo
Fun.
as the 7th overall pick. Okay, so we did some detective work with S Fresh in the chat, finding that London Cairo trade. Appreciate that. And now we're up to eighth, the 8th overall pick, which is Seoul, the newly promoted team Seoul.
My temporary home for a year.
Right, you were loaned out to Seoul last season.
Was. It was a lot of fun. They got a good squad there. It was fun to like go on the promotion journey with them.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of having these. Yeah, benefits. That part would be at least the benefit of having this promotional relegation system where you can actually win a league and be promoted to something else, to another league. But the consequence would also be that we also have relegated teams, as we saw with Cairo. Uh, well, but being on the promotional end, I think that's fun. I've never been a part of it myself, but it sounded fun, at least from your description of
Definitely was. It's fun to like have that like to work towards and then know that there's more to work towards after you get there. It's just kind of fun.
it. Right, but because the fun doesn't stop here, now you need to win the first division as well.
Yep.
Can't just be promoted and leave it at that. You need to compete in the first division as well next season.
You
So
don't want to just yo-yo.
yeah, that's going from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. uh,
Yeah.
but let's see who Soul picks up. It's Mark Spoon, Samuamen 666, another defender, or at least another. Yeah, another defender. That's grammatically correct. Correctly, we had two midfielders going previously here, but a left defender coming into Seoul. Concentration at 12, anticipation decisions. Very, very stable defending, mental, physical, and speed build here. Very good defensive build, I think. the mentals. You don't want to um, what's the word in English? You don't want to uh,
Neglect.
neglect. Yeah, yeah, that works. You don't want to neglect the mentals. Um, Maybe it doesn't have as much of an impact now when you're just starting out at 350 TPE, but once you get to the higher TPE levels, those mental stat is really going to give you, at least in my opinion, an impact on the field that's more than just running around being a speed demon. Looking at you, Juha Jarvinen. Um, but yes, a very stable build here from Samuel Men in Mark Spoon. A German player coming into the league, going to Korea, to Seoul here, traveling quite far from home, but that's essentially what you have to do in the SSL with all of the
Yeah.
international teams that we have. Is Seoul, given your insight into the team, Seoul is sticking to the core players for next season, if I remember correctly, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you haven't seen
Yeah.
any movement.
I'm well, other than just me going back to Tokyo.
Right, right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is going to be a piece that they will need to try and replace a bit, especially in the first division, with the matchups are going to be a bit tougher.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
Spoon is definitely going to be put into the fire, so to speak, trial by fire. Comes to
I believe in them.
yes, yes, as we all do with all prospects. So that was the 8th overall pick, Mark Spoon to Seoul. Now we have the 9th overall pick, so Paris, AS Paris, the second team that was relegated to the second division alongside Cairo. And Paris, we talked about yo-yoing a bit. Paris, unfortunately, was or is one of the teams that have been brought back to Division 2 after being promoted just last season. I believe, if I remember correctly, one of the comments was, "Yes, now we can go get another league championship or another divisional championship," referring then to the
I
second
love it when
division
people have fun with
championship.
it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you do get a trophy for winning the second
Yeah.
division. That's completely true. So, by all means, yes, go get those trophies. Fill up the trophy cabinet. Um, Works as well. And then let's see that we have Paris there. Yes. So Paris with the 9th overall pick, and this is most likely going to be a player that is going to be impactful right from the get go. That Paris has some inactives on the team that could be replaced. Um, if I remember correctly, I think all teams have a couple of inactives that could be replaced. So all of these drafts are really good at replacing the player pool.
That's what we hope for.
Yes. And let's see who Perry selects. It's Axel Jafari, user Fonzie GG, a Canadian player. So the second Canadian player in this draft that has gone. And Jafari is now going to Paris.
Gonna have to learn the other kind of French.
Yes. I don't believe this. I
I
don't
don't know
believe
where he's from in
Jafari was from
Canada.
Quebec, though, so it might just have to learn French
Yeah.
entirely. But talking about speed demons, this is a speed demon. Acceleration 18, pace 18, work rate 15. So has the capacity
Zoom,
to
zoom.
run up and down. This is a Juha Jarvinen Jr. coming into Paris. And runs with ball often and knocks ball past opponent, so really likes to run with the ball. Would be interesting to see how this impacts, or how this might actually be a player that could run circles around Division 2 players.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be interesting with a team that was a D1 team adding a piece like this in D2. That's I'm interested to see how that goes.
Runs with ball often, yeah. It's going to be calling for the ball and running up, and defender on the left hand side. So might be seeing some focus on that side this season for Paris. So Paris has recruited or has strengthened themselves a bit with another defender for the 9th overall pick. And then we have Accra again on the board at 10 overall. So the 3rd Accra pick this draft. I think that is correct. 10th overall is. So we talked about before that Accra has a very young team that already is performing relatively well in the 2nd division, 17 points. So very tight there in the middle of the pack between 3rd and 7th. It only differs 5 points. So with these additions, the 2 in the 2nd and 3rd overall, and now with the 10th overall pick, it's really going to be a interesting to see how they build on that even more. And the 10th overall pick is Jonathan Parker, user Schwein.
Argues with officials.
Yes, so the build here is very defensive. I'm not really hoping. I'm not really anticipating to see Parker going to be anywhere on the offensive end of the field, with positioning 20, marking 16, tackling 10. Marks opponent tightly, but also with the argues with officials, it's going to be interesting. Although now that I see this, Parker is a left midfielder as a primary position. And if I believe correctly, if I remember correctly, I talked to the user and they mentioned that the left midfielder was essentially just, this is a position that is lacking in the league, so I picked that as a primary, but their overall goal was to be more of a defender. So maybe this is
That
a
makes sense.
redistribution coming in to get to a primary position that is more in line with the attributes, maybe. But
Could
definitely a
be.
stable wall at the back of the field here, with very good positioning, very good marking and tackling to be able to get that ball from the opposition. Well, and then argues with officials. I don't really know. I haven't really seen that impact in Football Manager, but
I just love that it exists. I have no
yes.
idea if it does anything.
I believe the description essentially says the player has a higher chance of acquiring yellow cards in foul situations
Right.
or something like
But does
that.
it like help out the rest of the team somehow? Like an enforcer?
I don't know. I don't think it's the same as an enforcer giving, like, putting up
Like,
the
oh,
morale
that
on the
guy's
team.
gonna stick it to the man for us.
I don't
We're
think it
suddenly
works the same way. No,
very
unfortunately
excited.
not. Um, so there might be although the thing that we do here in the SSL, we reset all of the bans and we reset all of the yellow cards and red cards that you might get. So having another yellow card, I mean, on the entire season might not be that bad because I mean, if you get a red card, it just reset, or if you accumulate enough yellow cards to acquire a ban, it just resets. But it might have an impact on the field. I cannot say from my experience what it actually does. But it's a fun role playing trait to have at least. Be a
Yeah.
bit argumentative with the officials on the field. But this is the second defender that, or second defensive minded player, or third in total if you count the goalkeeper as well, that Accra has picked up. So really trying to secure the defensive part of the field. And like we mentioned, they conceded 22 goals, which was the third most in the second division. So maybe these pieces will help. Let's see what we have coming up next. We have Red Star Laos with the 11th pick. So Laos coming in with the first pick in the first round here, having traded away their let's see, it was the too many things to click on. It was the 5th overall pick they traded away to Kapstad, and now coming back with Sao Paulo's original 11th overall pick. Sao Paulo managing to stay in the Division 1 final match day of last season. So let's see who Laos picks up. This is the person. That is. So Laos is a rebuilding team as well. Have a very young team. They got a bunch of picks, or not a bunch of picks, but they got a couple of picks last draft. Furious Chicken among them, who's the new manager. Right, yes, I got my teams correct.
Yes.
And let's see who they picked up. So this player is from Brazil, so I doubt that the first name is pronounced in the Nordic way that I would say, but Olaf Cides, maybe Portuguese Cides.
I
I don't
guess
know.
so. I feel like there's a pun going on here.
A pun?
Yeah, I feel like he's all off sides.
Oh, yep, that makes more sense. Yeah,
Which,
that took me a
not
while.
the
I mean,
best thing to be, but
for me, this is a completely normal first name, Olof.
yeah,
So
for
I did
sure.
not
Oh,
see that
but tell me,
as.
I've been watching Frozen twice a day for the past month, so also just see Olaf and think snowman.
But yeah, all of sides. Yes, that makes more sense. So beta user, you got one on me there. If that is the, I mean, since we're talking about football, it seems to be, it must be a pun. I think.
If it's not, it's just like the best coincidence ever.
Yes, yes. But then all of sides, or Olaf Sides, or however you want to pronounce it. Good luck, commentators. Goes to Laos as the striker, or as a striker. So Laos trying to secure a bit of their offense. They did score 27 goals last season. So they do have a bunch of firepower up front, and adding Cetus to here is adding on to an already strong team. So I would be very scared of facing Laos if you don't have a strong defense next season. Finishing 14, agility 12, pace 12, curls ball, places shots. Again, a very versatile or agile rather striker that should be able to wreak some havoc on the D2 teams here next season. So good pickup by by Laos, and all offsides. I hope you don't go offside that much next season. That would be
Here's hoping.
bad. Yeah, wouldn't have as much of an impact. Yeah, that seemed to be the pun. Yeah, and you got that one. Yes, that's good.
I
Completely
used to
went
write
above
puns
my
for a
head.
living, so
So that was all offsides. I have to pronounce it like that from now on. To Laos at pick 11. And now we're back to Seoul at pick 12. So Seoul coming back with 2 picks relatively close together. And they pick up. Who they pick? Seoul had the 8th overall pick and the 12th overall pick. And as we can see here as well, they have the 14th overall pick, which we have a trade to announce when we get to that, because it was originally Athenai who had control over or ownership of that pick. So once we get there, we'll explain why it's Seoul there right now. But they will actually make 3 picks draft, which coming into
good
D1
stuff.
is good to build on the youth, even though you're playing in the first division. Good to have some form of um, what do you call it? Building from the inside, yeah, like
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Because if you can hang on to that and stick around, you're gonna be that much better like the next season.
Yes, definitely. So the 8th overall pick was the left defender, Mark Spoon, and then let's see who of the class is going to join Spoon in Seoul. System slowdown. Let's see. There we go. It's Gino Chouinard from Canada, but I'm guessing it's, if I remember correctly, it's from a Quebec city. The Chouinard.
With it being Larry, I would imagine so.
Yes, I would also imagine so, with it being Larry, the MVP, the user. Um, very known, or very well versed in the Seoul Mythic team, having played King Kong, the goalkeeper for Seoul, in their earlier player. Now coming back to Seoul with Chouinard, a central attacking midfielder. So instead of trying to stop shots, Larry is now trying to score shots, or rather, score goals with the shots.
This is where I am obligated to say, "Shut up, Larry," because Dirt's not here to do it.
Ah, let's see.
I
The
hope he
build is
watches this.
very Jert or Larry.
Oh, either one.
Either one, yeah. Okay.
Same
Either one
difference.
is fine. Yes. The build is very technical. So dribbling, first touch, and passing. Sorry. Um. So seems to be a bit of the on the technical side. Coming into D1 with maybe a bit higher TP defenders meeting Schwinnar. It might be a bit difficult, but definitely something to work on a bit. Trying to dribble their way to the goal, or not into the goal, but into a goal scoring situation. Of course, you are able to dribble into the goal if you want to as well, but might be a bit more difficult than just shooting it from afar. Places shots and dictates tempo as the chosen traits, which quite good for a central attacking midfielder. Be able to both distribute the ball with the dictates tempo, and if they get a shot opportunity, to actually place a shot as well. Trying to lure the goalkeeper. So Chouinard coming back to Seoul at 12, at pick 12.
Love that.
And now we're back to Cairo. So this was Buenos Aires, first round pick that was sent to Cairo in exchange for Torres. So Cairo making their second pick in the first round as well, and second pick in the draft as well. With also Cairo's selecting at 15. With was Tokyo's first round pick. Yes. How did they get Tokyo's first round pick?
Great question.
Fresh. If you're looking for more detective work, try to find that trade as well, so we can comment on that one as well. But yes, so Cairo is up for 13, and in the 13th selection, or the 13th selection, Cairo select, and pause for dramatic effect. Oh, the system was quick.
Wait, was this the pick that they traded for me?
Cairo.
No, that was somebody else's second.
We're still in the first round.
Right. I'm looking through every single Tokyo trade.
Oh,
That's what I'm doing here.
right, okay. But for the 13th overall pick, Cairo City selects Jean-Claude Goddam, Belgian player, or Goddam is Belgian. The user bum registered trademark, or I believe boom on Discord. I have no idea where you're from, but Goddam is Belgian at least.
That's great.
And
Okay, I think I found it.
you found it.
I think Tokyo sends Gary Hogg S9 Tokyo first, S9 Tokyo second for Capstad's third overall in whatever draft that was.
Oh, that was last season, probably.
Yeah,
And Fresh coming in with the link as well there, and the SSL chat. Good, good. We were a bit quicker now, Fresh. You need to quicken up your game. But Jean-Claude Goddam doesn't necessarily have to pick up his pace or their pace a bit. It's pace 12. Okay, that's a bit on the slower end if we talk about the league overall. But in Division 2, I think that's quite reasonable. A striker. So Goddam coming into I don't know if is that a cursed word? Goddamn. We need to bleep that
yeah.
in the commentaries.
I think you can say it in a PG-13 movie, so
Okay, so just
it's not
mark
like an
not for
F word.
kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
just mark not
this
for
is
kids on
not.
the YouTube
Don't
video.
put this in the YouTube kids out
Right. Um,
with all the weird like toy unboxing videos that my daughter watches every morning.
rabbit hole to go down to that. Yeah. Uh,
Terrible.
what was I going to say? Yes. Goddamn, trying to come in here and replace Torres as the striker, the main striker of Cairo City, because I believe the trade that sent out Torres for this pick was essentially meant that Cairo doesn't have a striker. So goddamn, coming in to the hot seat in the first couple of games, and with this build, with the physical speed, technical, and vision, maybe not that good in the air. It looks very similar to what Torres had in the beginning, so seems to be a good mold to start off with, even here as well here with goddamn with Jean Claude. Maybe I just call him Jean Claude instead of the last name for safety
Love
reasons.
it. So we don't get angry parents.
Exactly, exactly.
Hey, it could be a recruitment tactic. They get angry, they come here and find us, and then we say, "Hey, why don't you join the league?"
That is true. There have been
Definitely would work.
worse recruitment tactics in the past. So a striker coming into Cairo City, replacing the old striker that was traded out. And now we have a trade to announce. We have Athenai had the 14th overall pick, but it has been traded to Seoul for the Seoul's first overall pick in season 10 and Seoul's second overall pick. No, second round pick, not overall pick. Second round pick in season 10 as well. So Athenai trading out of this draft from 14. Maybe hoping that Seoul gets worse than 14 than fourth in this first division next season. Seoul hoping that this pick 14th overall is going to maybe get them to a better place, and Athenai losing out on this deal, but the second compensates maybe for that risk with the two teams. So Seoul giving or making their third selection in this draft at 14, and we have another defender going off the board. We're at 14. It's a, I don't want to say the nationality because that's going to spoil everything. But it's a defender, and it's Rafael Ramos from Spain, user Cement Hands or Crash Wagon, as they're known in Discord. Very, very experienced user from the SHL as well. This is what you get when you have two SHL players or SHL users commentating the SSL draft. We know the SHL
Common
players
from all the people we know.
Oh my god, the abbreviations. But Ramos coming into Seoul, another defender coming off the board, like I said. Seoul picking up a very, very strong aerial presence with jumping reach 13, pace 13, strength 13. Stays back at all times, marks opponent tightly as traits chosen. This looks like a very stable defender that is really going to help out at home and maybe be some form of aerial threat on corners as well with the jumping reach and strength. I think if you look at this radar chart, you will see both Spack Jarrow, Spack Jarrow, I think that's his name, and Henrik Lind has very similar builds, which both an aerial and physical presence, both of them. So Ramos really building for stability in the central defense, which is good to see. And I think Seoul is going to really not value. They're going to be rewarded by this pick in a couple of seasons time. I think if they manage to stay up in Division 1, or I mean even if in Division 2, they're going to be rewarded as well. Do you have anything to add about Cement Hands?
No, nothing off the top of my head.
Then we have the 15th overall selection, and that was Cairo once again, which we managed to find why Cairo owned Tokyo's 15th overall pick. And that player chosen by Cairo is another striker, actually. So Cairo trying to hedge their bets on the forward front, the striker fronts, with Jean-Claude being picked up at 13, and now another striker in if the systems can talk. There we go. Rob Reagan from the United States. User Viper coming in as well to maybe complete. Is that how you say it? To complete Jean Claude's build. Um, yeah, they complete each other. That's an English expression, I think. Um, so Rob Reagan coming in with more of an aerial threat, more of attacking, more physical, dribbling at 13, so maybe a bit technical compared to what Jean Claude was, if I remember correctly. But trying to secure the scoring touch that Torres left on Cairo with these two picks with Regan and Jean Claude. So it looks promising. The future of Cairo City's forward core looks very promising with these two pickups.
For sure. Getting pieces in place.
So moving on to the 16th overall pick, the final pick of the first round is Hollywood back on the docket on the clock, and they Hollywood select a mistake on here. So Hollywood is trying to select another player. So they get two prospects in the season that they uh, actually won the league, which is a bit interesting. I know that the team is experiencing some form of a salary crunch right now, with a lot of Hollywood's players being very high TP. So they need new people, new players to come in to maybe have an impact and maybe not cost as much salary wise.
Yeah. A lot of like there's a few teams that are very heavily S1 players. I think Hollywood is one of them.
Yes, Hollywood and Tokyo, I think, are the two
Yep.
that are most in the salary crunch, and they went 1 and 2 in last season, respectively. So, and Hollywood selects Tam Cove from Canada. Yeah, this is not a pun. I don't know.
No, it's just
No.
Evoc backwards.
Oh,
Yeah, they got a whole
I
little
mean that's a
clan
pun.
now.
So the user Hordle coming in with Tam Covey or Tam Cove, another defender coming in to Hollywood, joining the ranks of Gerald Gerard and Unpossible. I believe that's Evox player. Well, so Cove coming in with strength 12, leadership 12, jumping reach 10. So even though they're a side defender, maybe that jumping reach is going to be a bit of a different threat you might see on corners, both maybe offensively and defensively, being able to defend a bit more in the air. We haven't really seen that many corner goals in the league so far. If I remember correctly, I can count them on two hands, the number of goals we've seen in 8 seasons. But maybe with more players on the on on sides that are not central, with an aerial presence, it might change things up a bit. Um, but Covey coming in to help out the Hollywood defense. Not that they need that much helping, only conceding 12 goals on 14 games in the league last season. So conceding less than 1 goal per game.
Yeah.
But that rounds out our first round. with 16 players going to different teams. And we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players left in the eligibility pool, whereas 3 of them are S9 players. So we're starting off the second round with Tokyo, and Tokyo picks twice. So Tokyo has both the Kapstadt pick and Romana pick in some trades. Fresh, you should have been proactive here and shown us the links beforehand. But Tokyo gathering 2 second round picks, 17th and 18th overall. And with the 17th selection, Tokyo selects. The Fresh is typing, so maybe they have the links all up and ready for the Tokyo picks. 17th overall, Tokyo is selecting. Oh, yeah, there we go. The 2 links are in the SSL chat.
Perfect. We should have Fresh on here. Just be our like trade analyst.
I mean, being an accountant, they should know what trades went where, or at least be able to find them easily. I haven't really been able to navigate the budget that efficiently, but seems to know what they're doing, which is great. So let's see, 17th overall. I have the player name, but I don't have any of the other information. So let's see if the system can talk a bit quicker. There we go. 17th overall is Oscar Jebaselan, or Jebasilan. The user Playoff Lonzo. So actually one of the creators of the SSL, Playoff Lonzo, coming back with Oscar, or Öskar, I guess you would pronounce that first, O, given that the original Oscar with an O, Jebasilan, was their previous player retired when creating this one. And
Same
we
guy,
can't
just
have more
pronounced
players with the
slightly
same
differently.
name. Yes. So a slightly different O makes for a totally unique player, which is great. Playoff Lonzo coming back to the league and joining Tokyo, a left attacking midfielder. Very interesting, or very different radar chart compared to what the defenders that we've seen a bit. In the defenders, you usually see the bottom slices, the defending, mental, physical, and speed being the top ones. But here on Jabasilan, you see vision, technical, speed, and physical being the top slices, or the largest slices. So a very technical defender, not defender, midfielder, gets into the opposition areas, likes to try to beat offside trap. So very offensive minded, this one. Good for Tokyo. Bit of a competition on your position there, maybe. Or are you a central midfielder, Jess? Maybe you are.
I don't remember what I am anymore.
Remember what you are.
Hang on, I'll tell you. When I tell you that I don't, I'm not kidding.
That sounds good.
Oh, am I still? Oh, I already got moved.
You're cutting out a bit with the push to talk, I think.
I know I am a midfielder. I just don't remember what kind.
Okay. But you're going to get either someone to pass to in training or pass to in the game. That's what we can summarize from this, with Jebaselan coming in to Tokyo at 17th overall. And then we have another Tokyo pick at 18th overall. See who they pick. Then, with only 4 players remaining in the pool.
Dun dun dun.
can put the. I was going to say I can put the Tokyo screen up already, and then we'll see it update live. But it's going to be a bit different. Both they don't update the information at the same time. So it looks weird.
Oh, okay.
We just have to
Gotcha.
wait. But Tokyo selects another left midfielder, Saint Nebuchadnezzar, Saint Dewey, Saint Dewey. Oh, sorry, it's getting a bit
Is
late.
it an L or an I?
I think it's an
I guess
I.
it's I.
Saint
Okay.
Dewey.
Santui?
Saint Dewey.
I like
Saint
it.
Dewey. Yeah. However you pronounce that, Saint Nebuchadnezzar. It's easier to pronounce the player name for this user at least. So we have another left midfielder, shoots from distance, tries killer balls often. So this looks like a player that is more staying behind the midfield, maybe not compared to Jebaselan getting into the opposition areas. Nebuchadnezzar seems to be the one who's distributing and maybe both shooting from distance and killer balls means that you try to play the ball up into an open area for the teammates to run into. So kind of might work well with Jebasilan running into the opposition areas. And I also know that Tokyo has a lot of good wingers in both Shinji Kaido, um, uh, Isagi. I don't remember the first name, unfortunately. And there's another one. Where no, the Hayden is Hayden.
Yeah, he's a I feel like
Caleb
he's a
Hayden.
striker.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Hey, I knew one.
You knew one.
I love that I know what other people are and not my own
But not
players.
yourself. Yeah.
I
So
did look though. All of my stuff is on the right.
on the right. Okay. So
Yeah.
you have someone to pass to in the game
Yeah.
with these two pickups. Yeah, that's good. Um. So Tokyo securing a bit of the midfield, trying to maybe replenish the prospect pool a bit, if or when the older players get old, and maybe
That's me.
regress and retire. Yeah. I'm also an S1 player, and we're going to have our first regression this season, or after this season.
Hate it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, fun. The IRS are coming to take our taxes.
Maybe I'll just skip it and recreate.
Then Tokyo makes a good pick here with two
Sorry,
midfielders.
Tokyo. Imagine Gray and him over there like, no, God, no, why?
So at 19 overall, we're at the second pick from the end. If we look at if we have our premonition powers online, and now it's Montreal picking at 19th overall, so their second pick in the draft, and they will pick. Wait, 19, yes, 19 overall. Montreal picks up a defender. Well, that much. Then if the information can update. So we're almost at the end here. I think we have this pick and one more until we are done with this prospect draft. Do you have any thoughts on how the draft has gone so far for the teams?
I think it's going well. I like the system that we switched to this season. I think this was a lot easier than trying to get everybody together all at once when we have such a lean staff to run
Yeah.
it.
So for those, I mean, we can talk about it now. We only have one concurrent
Yeah.
viewer at this point in time, so we can say that this season we changed to an offline portion of the draft where all the selections were made, and this live draft is now essentially just recapping all of the picks. We've still been going on for an hour and a half,
Yeah.
which I didn't expect, but
I like that we got to like set the pace though. We weren't like stalling and
yes,
trying to talk for a longer time because someone is missing.
exactly. So the previous drafts, except for the first one, in season one, we've had a live draft where all of the managers have come together and drafted at the same time, and even with a 10-minute draft pick clock, so they need to make a pick within 10 minutes. We've still been had I believe like 10 minutes of like dead air time, which the commentators or the hosts have had to fill, which I commend them. I mean, I'm trying to fill now just to get because the system is not updating. But this is just like a minute. I can't imagine sitting here for 10 minutes trying to figure out something to
No.
say. Um, I have no
Me
idea
with my
what is.
limited football knowledge, just like I'll start talking about Ted Lasso or something.
Yeah, there we go. Now we have our 19th overall pick, and it's Vinnie Jones, the user Millwall. And considering the build, I'm maybe wondering if this is the actual Vinnie Jones coming into the league, because aggression is 18, strength is 14, heading is 14, and argues with officials. Again, we see in this trait coming back into a player. Um, Vinnie Jones was, I believe, he was a football player. You might know him as an actor. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, but I believe
Yeah.
he was a football player from the beginning. Um, Essentially, what this build is: very aggressive, very strong. Maybe not that much aerial presence, but heading, of course, argues with officials definitely. So this looks like a
What does
very.
diving into tackles look like?
I think from the description of the trait, it essentially means that when you tackle, try to get the ball off the opposition. You're not doing it standing up, so you're trying to dive the ball away from the opposition, which essentially means either you get the ball and you're in a great position for your teammates to pick it up, and the other player is usually falling down, or you completely miss the ball and miss the
Or you get
player
injured.
and you get injured. Essentially, yeah, that might be a risk as well. But it's a very uh, all or nothing type of
Ah,
situation
high risk,
when
high
you really
reward.
try to dive into tackles. So it might work
Gotcha.
for different for a build uh, that is built for that. I think aggression and tackling should be very high for that to work. Um,
Yeah.
they are very efficient if the player has those traits, has those abilities to actually get the ball when diving. But there is a risk if you don't have the abilities that you just essentially miss the ball and
Throw
miss the
yourself
player.
around.
Yeah, and then you're lying on the floor or lying on the
Oops.
field, and the opposition can get an open course for your own net, and you only have the keeper or at least fewer defenders there to protect
Yeah.
yourself. So Vinnie Jones, very aggressive, very. This seems like a Montreal pick from season 4, I think, where they essentially all of the team had red cards, or they led the yellow card league the entire season as a team. So going back to the roots with the new manager looks very
All
lovely.
goon all the time.
Yes, yes, they are. So now we have on the board on at 20th we have Reykjavik, but Reykjavik has passed. So that means that they are uh, deferring their pick. Not deferring. Deferring means that they do it again some other time. They have relinquished their pick. That's a better English word. It's
They're
getting very
yeeting
late.
it, you might say.
Eating it.
They
Oh,
yeet the
yeeting.
pick.
Yes, they are yeeting it.
That's the technical term.
Yeah, technical term, yeeting it. Yes. And we are now at Laos at pick 21. And Laos is going to actually be the last pick of the draft, with all other teams passing, all other teams to make a technical yeeting their pick. If that's what you said, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
So yeah, now we have a pass there on Reykjavik as well. And then we have Laos as the final pick. Dalton Canders, another American. Dal C21, a goalkeeper. So this is an S8 player that unfortunately wasn't picked up on the waiver wire prior to the trade deadline and was then eligible for this season's draft instead. So Dalton Canders going into Laos as a keeper, which I think they need. I think they have at least not an active keeper. So hopefully Canders or Dal C21 can come in with some activity for the team in this position to get Laos building on the defense again. And once again, we see attributes with tens all over, which usually means that they have a very uniform, very base, a very stable base to build upon when earning more TP on in their career. Later on in their career.
No glaring weak spots.
Yes. Maybe speed, but I mean, as a goalkeeper, you don't necessarily need speed at all because you don't run that much on the field as a whole.
Hopefully.
So yeah, hopefully it's
Going
what
on little trips.
what Steve Dangle used to say for hockey. If you're a goaltender, tend the goal. So yeah, speed is not applicable to this position as much as it is for outfield players. But this wraps up the last pick. Dalton
Good
Canders going
draft,
to Laos
everybody.
at 21. So all of the picks, all of the players have been allocated to teams. And as we usually say at the end, I think we're going to round off here very quickly because it's getting very late. My voice is starting to crack, and yours, Jess, was a bit cracked to
Hasn't
begin
been
with.
great for several days.
Yeah.
It's
So we're
better
going
than it
to.
was yesterday, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's good. Good to hear. But we're going to round off here quite quickly now. So 21 players, or 20 players rather, coming into their new teams in S1, in S1, in S9, fixing up the seasons here. We're going to see two new teams in each division. Cairo and Paris going to Division 2, Seoul and Inter London joining Division 1. Both teams are back where they started. They both started in Division 1 once upon a time. So great to see those two teams back. With new players, so all of the S9 prospects, good luck in next season and good luck in your career. Hope to see you develop your players for the foreseeable future and maybe be able to lift a trophy or two.
Yeah.
And we'll see each other on the pitch.
Good luck, everybody.